Hello and welcome to CUEBC 2022. It's just such a pleasure to be here at Terry Fox to join you. My name is James Gill. I am a STEAM teacher at Citadel Middle School. I teach 460 kids a year. I teach them science, technology, engineering, arts, but think of arts as design and math. I love doing project-based learning. I love real-world problems, and I love a hands-on approach to teaching and learning. So how can you get started with STEAM in your class? Well, when I started with different projects in my class, I had a supply of wood, some different sizes. A lot of it was donated from some parents who had done some renos, some who were in construction. And with these small pieces of wood, like 1" by 1" square pieces, a couple of very precious 2x4s, we could start doing some construction. And these were the hand tools I used. I had an actual hand crank drill. That was a gift from the custodian. I had a couple of clamps, so any table could become a working table. I had a couple of saws. I like the pull saws because it's easier for small children to pull than it is for them to push in a cut through wood. A couple of hammers, some small nails, and a glue gun. And my students were grades 3 and 4 and 5. I think that kids can be taught how to use these hand tools safely. And I think if you take an approach of not everyone using tools all the time at the same time, I think that you can have a very safe and engaging hands-on experience with tools. But a makerspace doesn't have to be hand tools. Let's explore some of those activities today where you're going to be using some very safe, not sharp tools, but will still be unleashing the creativity within you. So, when I say a makerspace needs to be managed differently than other subjects, typically when you teach a subject area, you're teaching everyone at the same time. Usually we're all on the same page together. But a makerspace, I think, is best utilized when you have some people making something some of the time. And then you find a way to give everybody an opportunity through thoughtful use of a calendar, thoughtful use of day planners, different times of day, different routines. Different people can be making at different times. And if everyone knows they're going to get a turn to make something, I think that the classroom management will be very successful, and so will your makerspace projects. So, who benefits from a makerspace? Well, so I had all the gifted students in the school in my class because I was somebody known for using a lot of technology. Those students really, really loved getting after things with their hands. We used Makey, a little circuit board technology with alligator clip wires, and they connect to a computer, and they're kind of like an extension of the keyboard, but you can program them to do different things. Well, students created little tinfoil sensors on the wall and on the floor, and when they would take off their socks and shoes and they touch things with their feet, they could do a video game where they could duck, jump, turn left, turn right, just by touching the pads on the wall. That was some really good creative outlet for them. And when they would finish their work early, having a makerspace for gifted students to go to gives them something to keep engaged and really stretch themselves. Sometimes my students need to represent their learning in different ways. I have so many students who are bright but can't write, but they could build something like a movie set in miniature, or they could use Lego to show what they know about sustainable cities. So having a makerspace means you're offering students a different way to express what they've learned, a way to show what you know. And finally, average students. Oh, give all students a chance to get their hands on materials and to build. And you will find the behavior problems go down because engagement goes way up. Now, stuff. I always get asked, well, what stuff do you need? Give me a shopping list. There is no shopping list, and there's no one right way to make a makerspace. I say, for teachers new to making a makerspace in their classroom, begin with the stuff that you know best. If you are amazing with fabric and you have sewing skills, begin with that and let your kids see what an expert you are with that media. Or what if you were like me, a Lego kid too? And bring some Lego in, and you'd be surprised that older brothers and sisters of those kids who have their own Lego collection, if they're in elementary school, or if like me in middle school, those kids are feeling like, I'm not needing or wanting to be with Lego as much myself at home. Bring it to school, and you'd be surprised how many grade 8 students just gravitate towards Lego as a social activity. Give them a task to build, and I like to mount my flat Lego plates on the wall, but you don't have to do that. But that just frees up space, and kids can start building vertically, and it's not only a social activity because kids are talking about their learning too. They're talking about their plans. They're negotiating. All those skills that we want to develop in our kids are skills that really come out when you make a makerspace. Wood blocks, or even working with inexpensive lumber. Just make sure you have a vacuum on hand to clean up afterwards, and I say go for it. Now, I want to talk about thinking. So when it comes to making activities, I came from a model of thinking called waterfall thinking, which I think is best demonstrated with the egg drop. You would create a vehicle. You put an egg in the vehicle, you would drop this vehicle from a height. If the egg broke, that was a fail. And if the egg survived, that was a win, that was a pass. But then you moved on. So like a waterfall where the water flows, drops over the edge, and runs away, so is the progression of the task and the thinking. Where I think we are missing out is an opportunity to reflect. So design thinking is a model of thinking popularized by Stanford University in 1996, and it has 5 steps. So those steps are empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So empathize, we think about first who. Begin with who. Who is the end user? Who is the person with the problem? Then define what. What is the problem? Now we may need to circle back to the define phase, because what if we didn't really understand the problem the first time through? Next, ideate. Oh, this is tempting to just get on with things, but let's slow things down and have students come up with not just plan A, but plan B and plan C. Then, prototype. Don't be a perfectionist and don't allow perfectionists into this stage. Build it good enough. And finally, test. Now, in the event that the test doesn't work, this is where the learning happens. I'm excited it didn't work. Do we need to build the prototype differently, out of different materials? Do we need to circle back to the ideate phase? Steal ideas from plan B and C, smush them together, and add that to plan A, and now make something new, a new way of prototyping that you can test? Or finally, do we go back to the define phase to ask ourselves, do we really understand the problem? And that is those are the 5 words that I want my students to fluently use before they leave my program.